Hey, good Sunday morning, boys and girls in the firearms world. Man, I'm looking at this camera here and I see the bags under my eyes. Honest to God, I look like I'm 157 years old. I might have to start using cucumber slices or something, you know? I mean, hey, since we're cooking it up here in Black Powder Bill's kitchen, now people ask, Bill, why do you do these videos in your kitchen? Why don't you like do them like down at your workbench or, you know, at the desk? And I go, here's the reason I do them at the kitchen. Years ago, the anti-gunners, their claim was that all of us kitchen tabletop gun dealers were the reason there were firearms all over the United States. We were selling to anybody. We didn't ask any questions. You know, nothing happened. Now, I'm not talking 100 years ago, okay? I'm talking the 90s, all right? So we're talking, you know, 20, 25 years ago. Hell, maybe 30 years ago now, that this was going on. And that was their excuse why there were all these killings with firearms, you know, by criminals. Yeah, right. But what people don't understand is all federal firearms license dealers since about 1968 have had to fill out a form of 4473, and every couple of years they amend this form. First you just had to fill it out and then, you know, it was up to the dealer to figure out if you were a nutcase or not. So we had to play psychiatrist, we had to play cop, we had to play investigator, detective. You know, and you kind of watch the person's actions. You know, if a guy comes in and he looks like a crackhead and he smells like a crackhead and he starts throwing out all this cash and needs a gun right away, well, then you kind of know that you got to pass this sale off. Unfortunately, our own alcohol, tobacco, and firearms and government has a different view of arms in the world. You know, they have no problem with arms in 100 different countries, of which 99 of them turn around, you know, and killing Americans. That's what people don't understand. It's Americans against the rest of the world, okay? And that's what you need to understand. Now, we're being tasked here in New York with all kinds of bizarre firearms regulations above and beyond what the feds already have. Not only on the federal side do we have to call a next check-in, that's a background check to the FBI to make sure that, you know, that you don't show up in any database and we can transfer a firearm to you. Now, actually, that relieves a lot on the dealer's end because now it makes the feds responsible. I did the paperwork, I did my part, everybody signed it, I called it in, and I get permission from the federal government to transfer that firearm to the purchaser. New York State wants to expand that even more. They want us to do like freaking paperwork if we sell ammunition. And the one clue was, well, if they buy a lot of bulk ammo, then, you know, that's a sign. Yeah. Well, what about the competitive pistol shooter that shoots, you know, 500 rounds in a week for practice and then goes to a big shoot for 3 or 4 days and burns up 2,000 rounds? What about the competitive skeet and trap shooter that shoots, you know, 200 or 300 shot shells during the week and then come a weekend for a big shoot, like a skeet shooter would shoot all 4 gauges. Maybe he might even shoot doubles. That's 500 shot shells right there. Not including any practice he might do that weekend. Or a shoot off. Okay? That's 2 flats of that's 2 flats of shotgun shells. That's more than that. A flat of shotgun shells is only 250 shells now. All right. So I think if you multiply that, that'd be like 20 cases of shot shells for the weekend for the 4-gauge skeet shooter. That's quite a bit. So when they start talking about this bulk ammo crap, this kitchen table gun dealers, we want to have a magazine ban. And things in the magazine ban, they don't even discuss. You have, they say, well, 22 rimfire is okay. 22 rimfire, you know, you put them in the tube and you're okay, but maybe you still can't have more than 7. Well, if you have a lever action gun and 38, 40, or 44, or 45 long Colt, 38 or 357, any one of those variations of calibers that has a tubular magazine that holds 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 rounds, that's center fire. You can't have any more than 7. Now, this is kind of how I interpret what they're going to come up with. I don't know, because I have to wait for the state police superintendent to come out and tell me what I'm supposed to do. And then we have the legislature now who's going down through the bill, and they're finding all kinds of things wrong with it. Mistakes because they just took 20 turds, threw them up on the wall, and said, hey, we like the picture that painted, let's vote for this. So there's going to be a lot of wrangling going on. They give an exception if you're at a range. That is a gun club, one that is not licensed by the state, but most gun clubs have a not-for-profit status of some type, 501(c), 501(4)C, or whatever. However they may be set up or registered, that's a range. Okay, they're not talking about the range in your backyard. Some people are having a hard time understanding this. You know, a guy explained, well, if I'm on my own property, no, you're not allowed to. Well, if I'm on my own property, I can't. No, you're not allowed to. And here's where this problem comes in. When I first moved to this state in 1982, I should have had my head examined. I didn't know that you had to be 12 years old to shoot a firearm. Now, I belonged to the gun club. I was taking my kids up there, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old. We were just shooting right away. I didn't know this. I didn't know this until I became a New York State Department of Environmental Conservation hunter ed instructor. And I said, man, this is stupid. I said, I got cousins 8 years old shooting deer in other states. I go, this is just ridiculous. And I tried to get it changed. And here's where the problem came in. I'm sitting in meetings, sportsmen's meetings. I go, we got to get this changed. We should be able to take these kids out when they're at any age to be able to go squirrel hunting with us. All right? I mean, there was actually an environmental conservation officer. He was a major. He threw out a little note one time that if his people are out and they see somebody, a father or whatever, that has their child with them and we're out hunting, he wanted us to be arrested for not contributing to the delinquency of a minor, unsafe acts with a minor, I don't know, some kind of crap. All right, that didn't last too long. I got a hold of that memo and I gave it out to the troops, and I really don't know what happened to that major or anybody else, but this is kind of crap we got to put up with. It's the blindsided stuff. So these old boys in these sportsmen's clubs were saying, I don't want no 12-year-old out in the woods hunting with me. They're unsafe. Yeah, well, sure, right, you know, but yet they'll sit there and they'll say, you know, things these days, they ain't like they were when I was a kid. We used to take our 22s into school, and the principal would put them in the locker, and we were done with school, we could go hunting. Oh, really? Let's see. So you don't want the 12-year-old, the 12, 13, 14, 15-year-old of today going out hunting, deer hunting, squirrel hunting, because you think it's unsafe, but you get your crusty old butt on the school bus when you were a kid, junior high, grade school, junior high, high school, brought your gun to school so you could go hunting. And now you ask why we have these laws we have today. I mean, I'm calling the sportsmen out. I've listened to it. I've got stacks and stacks and stacks of notes for meetings. I can't even read them because some of the responses I receive, they're actually sickening. Now, on to the New York State legislators and senators that stuck it in our back. Shooters Committee on Political Education, which is at www.scopeny.org. The Wayne County Chairman, John Pizarnik, was on the phone with Dean Skelos at 3 p.m. in the afternoon. Don't worry, boys, I got your back. I protect the Second Amendment. Well, he couldn't wave his finger fast enough to say yes. According to what we've been saying in our meetings, some of the directors from Scope, these people who voted for all this amendment will never receive anything above an F rating from us. Even if they do their token good gesture before they get elected, they'll never receive anything above an F rating from us. And you're all aware of the rating systems. You know, the NRA has a rating system. This one's good. This one's for A, B, C, D, whatever. Kind of on our side. Doesn't matter. Republican, Democrat, Independent, Conservative, Green Party, Rainbow Party. I don't care what you are. If you vote against firearms rights, you're not anything firearms related. You're not going to get anything above an F from me. If I'm sitting there agreeing that paperwork, I don't care if you tell me you love me and you went out and bought a hunting license and you're out there shooting pheasants with Al Gore, you're not getting above an F. Don't care. You proved to me what you were going to do to me. You've hamstrung millions of firearms owners in New York State. You awoke the zombies, the ones we can never get out now because they're going to lose something. Now because it's going to dip in their pocket. There's a lot of people out here in New York that have a lot of money in their firearms. And I'll say it again. We need to starve the state out. Now, a fellow by the name of Mark, I think he's from Webster, New York, maybe. He had an idea. He said, you want to starve the state out, stop buying lottery tickets. Well, I talked to a fellow last night on the phone, Jetty. I believe he's with one of the motorcycle clubs here in the Rochester area. He told me that he just saw a report that lottery sales in the last week or so are down 20%. I'd like to see lottery sales drop off about 50-60% and starve the state out. Other people are saying, if you buy cigarettes or fuel, go get it from the reservation. Help our brothers out on the reservation, because they like sticking it to the government, and they can do it. They got the treaty, they got the people, they got the money, the casinos behind them. They did it right. They came in, money talks, bullshit walks. You get Grisanti, Lentil. There's a guy down here by the name of Ted down in the Fairport area. He's so proud he voted for this. Let me tell you something. All these legislators, they have Facebook pages. And I see absolutely no reason at all why you can't find the legislator in your area that voted for this firearms ban. Remember, it's not an assault weapons ban. I don't want to hear the word assault weapon roll off anybody's lips. It's a firearms ban. And I could probably go so far to say that it's racially motivated, because the antis are the ones that said it's all these old white rednecks that own these firearms. Well, okay, fine. We'll use that. We'll take the race card and we'll throw it back on them. I want you to go to these people's Facebook page. I want you to tell them exactly what you think. I want you to tell them how much money they're going to lose. I want you to tell them you're not going to buy a hunting or fishing license for the next couple of years. All right, now they say, well, there's $51 million in the CFAB budget, and that really won't hurt the state. I'll tell you what, $51 million will not go far. All right, in this state. All right, this state has contracts to have the hunting and fishing license printed up and sent out. What's the minimum cost for a fishing license or hunt license? $29. There's a provision in this firearms ban bill that says if I do a background check between two individuals, I can't charge any more than $10. You tell me where the state charges $10 for anything without a surcharge fee. I figure that out. The state's telling me how much I can charge to do a background check between two private sales of individuals. That's that gun show loophole crap they talk about. $10. $10. So I got to sit around, I got to wait for a couple of guys to show up, and a lot of times people don't show up when they tell you they're going to show up. So I got to wait for a couple of guys to show up. Then they're going to stand around and want to bolt BS. I'm looking at an hour minimum. $10. $10. And then they probably won't like my ammo prices, so they'll want to drive around a 100-mile round trip to one of the box stores to save 50 cents on a box of cartridges. That's life, folks. That's how it is. $10. All right, I can't start my truck and drive back and forth to work for $10. Ooh, a rabbit just ran across the backyard. I got a pot of beans on the stove. I think I might have to go find him and take care of him and toss him in. All right, back to this. There was a rally at the Rendell Library in Rochester, New York yesterday. Jetty Tranquil hosted it. He paid for it himself. He did the rental. He did this. They had 75, 100 people show up. He explained to people what was going on, how things were working. He pulled in a large contributions to help for ScopeNewYork.org legal fund, all right, because we are going to fight this loss. We are going to fight this bill. There's provisions of the bill we will probably win. Some stuff might even be unconstitutional. We know that a couple of these turds are going to stick on the wall. That's life. The NRA and New York State Rifle and Pistol, they got a guy, they're filing a lawsuit, and they got to, hopefully they'll win on their end. There's another fella out of Buffalo, he's doing a class action lawsuit. Hopefully, he'll find some things on his end, and he's going to win, and that's what we got to have. And then there's ScopeNewYork.org. We've got a lawsuit. We actually already have a lawsuit in the works on some previous stuff. Upstate. Scope was also part of the Long Island colored gun ban. That's where they wanted to ban a gun depending on its color of its stock. And there were a couple guys, one guy, Alan Showick, out of Long Island, went out and bought, I think, a pink freaking pistol of some kind. I mean, we won the lawsuit. They threw it out, Now you have all this bizarreness going on, and people just don't understand it. I'm rolling up past the 15-minute mark here. I realize that most people's attention spans, run between 9 and 10 minutes when you have to listen to somebody yammer on. But again, I'd like to thank all the customers this past week who have purchased bullets, dies, and presses from me. I want you to be safe using this stuff. Read the directions. If you're unsure, go to the manufacturer's website and download their directions. Do not. It's nice to go on YouTube and look and watch how people do stuff, but when you're trying to explain something to somebody, times you kind of forget things, or you ramble on, or you get a little bit sidetracked. So please go to the manufacturer's website. They all have their own individual reloading information, how to set their press up. They got 1-800 numbers you can call. You can talk to the trouble techs, and they'll give you a hand doing anything you want. If you got a quick question, you can give me a call or drop me an email. I'm at blackpowderbill@yahoo.com. I run my blog at www.blackpowderbill.com. I try to take a lot of the things that I put on my Facebook page once a week or so, and I try to take my comments off my Facebook page and put them over on my blog. Sometimes I have this copy-paste issue where it just wants to give me all this bizarre text and things are too long or too wide, and I have to go back and reformat everything again. And another problem is, you do the copy-paste after you do your spell check, and sometimes you don't copy what you spell check, and then you're sending letters to legislators. That makes you look like you're some woodchuck from Appalachia. I am from Appalachia. What can I say? Yeah, I'm originally from West Virginia. I moved up here from Philly in '82 after I got out of the military, and I'll tell you what, I should have had my head examined. That should be a disqualification right there. If you know somebody that moves to New York and they want to buy a gun, I think that'll be part of that mental defective thing. They won't let you own a firearm. Anyway, thank everybody for turning out to all the rallies. I thank everybody for making donations and the new memberships we have. I'm thanking all my customers for buying stuff off of me. A lot of the things you're buying are new or used. I don't have a need for them. I do hustle to try to make, I like to make a buck too. I can't do this for free. I have expenses over here, and I do like to shoot and buy my own toys. Hey, if you want to check it out over on gunbroker.com, I got a pre-banned 50 cal rifle. It's got a 41.5-inch barrel. Okay. You ought to go over on gunbroker.com and check it out. I'm under BPBERS. Check me out. Give me a shout. Y'all take care. I got to tend to this pot of beans. I got to warm up my cup of coffee. And y'all have fun and be safe. This is Black Powder Bill out.